Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing great. If you can hear me clearly, please type 1. Michael, Joseph, Goma, Kevin, awesome submission. Alex, excellent. So we have lots of beautiful names. Please go to the course content all in one. And there are files there. One of them is control structure switch. And the other one is control structure switch.txt. So one is PowerPoint. The other one is the text one. We directly start with the text file. So please just read the content of
There we
PowerPoint at your convenience. What I want you to do, please open the text file, which should show you something like this, right? Okay. So this time you have the file, but I strongly recommend that you just follow and type the code, because at the beginning it might be a little bit tricky. We might have some problems here and there. So the best is to at least type the first few lines. And then we are going to switch to a new concept. So everybody, let me just bring back the microphone on. Okay. Look at the code that we have here. In the code, it says, we have integer day. We ask the user to enter a number. Well, that number should be between 1 to 7. If it is 1, it means Monday. If it is 2, Tuesday, all the way to Sunday. What if a user enters anything outside the range? Then it's going to say wrong entry. Please enter a number between 1 to 7. Does that make sense? Everything is clear? Okay, so I'm going to run that code and see what's going to happen. It is going to show us something like this. So if I say 2, it's going to give us Tuesday, and it skipped the program, right? Okay, so everybody, please take your time. If you want to complete, please complete. That's my recommendation. Please complete typing the code. And whenever you are done typing and testing, then please type 2.
So Reza, should we make another project and just call it like test? Is this part of the test kind of thing?
No.
Okay, got
It
it.
is still, okay. Still we have 2 parts. One part is going to be continuing our topics. It's going to take 1 or 1.5 hours. And after that, we are going to have our test.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Maria, start from here. Just copy these 2 lines, these 3 lines, and see if it works, yes or no. How about that? Oh, this is the error that you said you received from your computer, right? When you want to use Visual Studio. Okay. It is almost impossible without seeing your computer or sharing your monitor to go through these kind of problems. So at the moment, let's just rely on the online compiler. Mhm. Okay, so guys, do you see this? This is kind of um, um, I just keep I know that sometimes it happens that your mic is unintentionally open. So for everybody, I just turn it to mute. But whenever you want to step in and talk, please feel free to just step in. That's it. Um, you see that here's a kind of a repetitive else, if, which is not that much nice. And the reason for that is, what if we have more conditions to check? That's a funny thing that in some languages like Python, we just had at the beginning if, else, if conditions. But in modern languages, they provided something for us that is the job. Instead of this, if, else, if they equal to 1, they equal to 2, we use a structure called switch case. Look at this one and look at the difference. I just place it side by side. So you can just, see these two. I mentioned as version 2. The same way, you're going to get the day from the user. Then you're going to say, hey, switch day. If it is 1, do this. If it is 2, do this. If it is 3, instead of saying if it is, we say case, in case it is 1, in case it is 2, in case it is 3, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? So look at the difference between these two. And I don't want you to rewrite the code or copy and paste. I want you to modify the current code, please. And by modifying, I mean just change this one. Let's just put it in a part of the screen. And this one on the other side. Just try to modify this, because if you can get the structure, we say switch. Whatever you want to check, you're going to place it inside the parentheses, and then you're going to start the curly braces, one curly brace. And then you're going to start saying case, then 1, do this, console.write line, but don't forget to say break. Let me just get rid of the whole thing. And just continue, say case 2. You see that it already mentioned console.write line, Tuesday, semicolon. Don't forget to say break, otherwise it's not gonna work. And we're gonna see that the same for the rest, okay? But whenever you can just finish this, please type 3. Thank you, Michael. Kevin, thank you. Let's just give more time to our team members. Um, how about this? After the exam, we're gonna, but awesome. Okay, bravo. That's a funny thing. Before I get internet, let me just turn off my phone. I use my phone as hotspot. Sometimes unintentionally it switches to, so I need to turn off my phone to make sure that I'm not gonna lower down the speed unintentionally. Look at this one, guys. Very simple concept. That is why in some languages like Python, originally, we just had if else. Well, we have elif instead of else if. We had if else kind of conditions, and we didn't have switch cases. This is only just nicer, neater, nothing new, right? We are gonna say if day is equal to 1, instead of saying that, we say switch day case 1, right? And we consider if that is the case, then do something and finish the job. Break means you have to go outside. But why we need that? And that's a kind of funny thing. Look at this. Imagine that I don't have break. So it's going to start giving me kind of error. But if I get rid of the task that I need to do, there is no error anymore. You see that? So I'm going to run the code once again and look at this part. In this case, if I say 2, it is going to show you Tuesday. That's what I expect. And if I say 1, still it's going to show you Tuesday. You see that? So if you don't have anything for the body of case 1 and you don't have any break, if you enter 1, if you enter 2, it's going to just run this part. Does that make sense? There are tons of ways that we can implement this. Look at this. Even if I say 1 now, it's going to show you Tuesday. I'm not saying that is the correct thing. Definitely 1 is not Tuesday, but I just want to show you that why we have break, right? And there are other ways to yeah, just handle the things. Everybody, this is our challenge, guys. The next thing that I'm gonna show you the challenge is you're going to ask the user, let me just show you, you're going to ask the user, please enter a number, and that number should be either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Any number outside the range, you should receive that wrong entry. Please enter a number in that range. So I'm going to send that code. You already have it as a kind of look at this. First run this. If you just say 3, for example, it's going to tell you it's summer. But what I want you to do, you yourself convert this one into switch case, please. Sorry. Whenever you are done converting, take your time. Then please type 4. No, the task is you see if else, you need to convert it to switch case. Is it clear now? Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Alex. Okay, in case that people want to just double check their answers. Okay, Farhina, merci. So now let's just get a little bit away from if else. The whole intention of saying if else is with or without knowing switch cases, you can solve the problems. And actually, for today's exam, you're going to see there are cases that you have to check if it is 1, do this, if it is 2, do this, something like that. Does that make sense? So you can either use this new topic that you learned, or you can just rely on your previous knowledge that you have used if, else, if kind of thing. Is it clear for everybody? So the questions that you're going to see, they are not going to be new. You can just use either switch cases or you can use if, else, if. Yes, Joseph?
I was gonna ask, can you use switch on like doing additions or subtractions or any sort of equations like
We can do that too. Yeah, we can do that too.
and
But
that goes on the line of case, I guess.
okay. So how about this? For instance, that's actually the question of the midterm.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but well, how can I tell without tell? Okay, imagine that I check something as you said, for instance, add here. In case that it is, well, it's not going to accept because it is string, right? But it is exactly like that. Then you are going to say the result, for instance, the result is equal to num1 plus num2. I tried not to answer and answer at the same
Same.
time.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, the more that we go through it, you're gonna see more I mean just yeah, use cases for this one. Guys, how about this one? If the let me ask you, a month like 12 December, January, February, what are they? They are winter, uh, they are in winter season, right? Well, let's just consider that way. Simplify. You might say, ah, Reza, part of it, it's let's simplify it. How about this? Saying 3, 4, and 5, they are in spring. Uh, and let's say 6, 7, 8, summer, and 9, 10, 11, they are in fall. And I'm gonna give you the freedom of choice for either using switch case or if else. So without scrolling down, this is your problem. Try to solve this one, please. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Michael. I didn't want, if I answered that, then I answered question number one in the exam. So don't worry. That's good. Whenever you are done with this question, don't worry, don't rush. Then type 5, give me high five. Okay, any progress? Let's just look at it. It's not the greatest version of it, but it's like saying case 12, say it is winter. Thank you. Case 1, say it is winter again. Eskim, thank you. Goma, merci. So let me just bring the current version, and please tell me if anything is not understandable for us. Let's first check if it works. I'm gonna just run it, and if I say 12, it should give us definitely winter. So I'm gonna just type 12, and it's going to tell us winter. That's what I want. But let's see what's gonna happen here. Getting an input, converting it to integer, right? Okay, I'm gonna answer that in no time. So we are gonna have three several versions, and you're gonna see the answer. So the first thing is very, very mechanical, kind of just go from one step to the other. Check if it is 12, say winter. If it is 1, winter. If it is 2, winter. Guys, do remember we practiced something. It was not good for that, but now we can use this. We could say, hey, if it is 12, if case 12, case 1, case 2, just type winter. Let's just run and see if it works. For instance, if I say 1, it is going to give you the same result. So now I can just simplify for 3, for 4. I don't need to say this is string. I can just use that for 5. So either 3 or 4 or 5, it's going to just tell you it is string. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to just simplify the same way for fall. The good thing is Joseph always asks the questions that we are about to find out. So first thing, let's just see if this one works. For instance, if I say 4, is it going to tell us string? Yes, it works, right? So first thing, now, would you please, everybody, simplify the code like this, whatever you have, and see if it works. So whenever you could
So, Professor, just to confirm again, because I think
Yeah.
I missed it. So, at the end, the else is called default
Uh-huh.
in this scenario. Okay.
That's a very good question. If I missed explaining, you know, if the numbers that we receive from a user is in the range that we have it in the case part, it's going to show any of the above messages. Else means if it is outside the range, we use default. So default is for else, like outside the range. Does that make sense? Awesome. Good question. Okay, everybody. If this one, let's see, the improved version is actually what you see here. And if anyone wants to run the code and understand, I'm gonna just first let me just see if there is anyone who. Okay, so here for everybody, here's the code. Uh-huh. And now let's just get to the first question that Joseph asked. Is it possible to have, for instance, say 12 or like this, 1 or like 2 and get rid of all those guys? And how about this? If we say 3 or 4 or 5, how about this? If I say, and intentionally, let me just make it a little bit messy. I have a reason to just make the code a little bit messy to show you something. Or sorry, 7 or 8, huh? And let's just make this one messy too, in this case. And the same applies for here, saying 9 or 10 or 11, huh? And guys, if the code is not that much great, Control K, Control D, Control K, then Control D. It is going to nicely align all the code lines for you. This is for Visual Studio. Again, Control K, Control D is a kind of beautifier shortcut. Okay, did I answer your question, Joseph? So this one, if you go down, you see that here is the kind of lots of
But
typos.
Professor, you use the actual word or. Are we able to use the symbol, the straight line down?
Well, these are the very good question because I use that. If I want to answer that question simply, I have to try it. Right? See if it works. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna say no, it doesn't. So let
Okay.
me try it. See if I say 2, for example, it should give us invalid. So it doesn't work. But if I say or, that's what I always used. This one should work. Now if I say, there's one thing too, and the reason behind it, I'm not gonna dive deep into it, but whenever you use or bar sign for or, it is a bitwise operator. So it is going to work on the bits, not um,
Yeah, I got it because we just did the bitwise on the assignment. So
okay.
yeah.
If you know that, then that is why it gives
Okay.
a number which is not in the range. The result is not in the range. Okay, guys, do you see how concise and nice it could be? Please try it. You're welcome, Alex and Michael. Okay, and Maria, did you get the idea? Compare this one to the previous one. You see, instead of having all those cases, we just have one line. Huh? Pooja, you are still using this strategy. The code that you sent me is this one, is the left side, is the right side. I want
Uh,
to,
yeah, sorry, I was trying to fix the error that I was getting. I messaged you earlier, but I
uh-huh.
couldn't. So I'm just trying to follow the syntax what you are showing me and trying to do write the logic.
Okay, the problem is because we have 20 some, it's almost, and we have exam today, it's not possible to just debug the problems. You have the right code that works 100%. So you can just, at your convenience, compare that. And still, if you face problem, most of the time, I'm sure that there are websites, guys, not a bad idea to try them. The name is compare text. So there are two panels, right panel, left panels. You copy, for instance, my code in one panel, your own code on the other panel, and see the differences. And you can find easily if there is any problem and issue, okay? So let's go to the next version. So this is the kind of concise version of it. This is, now we get to slide number 4. Guys, this is a problem. Again, I show you the if-else kind of format. I want you please convert it to switch case. If the year that you enter is 1, you should say that freshman. 2 for the students who are in second year sophomore. The 3 for junior, and the 4 is for senior. Does that make sense? So if I want to ask you something similar to that in the test is, please receive a number from a user. If it is 1, you should say freshman to sophomore, so on and so forth. And if the number is not inside the range, you should say invalid year or invalid entry. Please work on that. Here is the code. Please convert it to switch case.
Sorry, Raza, the OR thing is not working with me and it's showing a red line under the OR.
Where do you use that?
In
Visual
the case,
Studio?
yes,
Okay. Do you have the code? Can you please try this one? I'm gonna just copy it for everybody here.
please.
The second guess that I could have is the version of C Sharp, .NET framework that you're working is. Pooja, you're asking different questions. Please just copy this one and see if it works. Okay, Mohammed, did you get the answer?
I have the same issue. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with the version of the Visual Studio.
When did you install it? Uh,
At the
could
beginning of our course.
No, it shouldn't be any issue for that. But how about this? For now, just okay, people said. As I told Pooja, the problem is, yeah, the whole code is, guys, you already, let me just explain it again. As one time just exception, I gave you the code saying that whenever we have challenge, please do not scroll down, try to challenge yourself, but you have the whole code inside this file, 03. You see that?
Yeah.
So, and as you see on my computer, guys, it works, right? This is exactly the code that I already sent to, let me just bring the code here again, this one. Yeah. For instance, Control C, Control V. This one, as you see, it works on my computer. If I say 3, it's going to say junior, right? Or the one that you said it gives you error is this one, the or version here. I'm going to copy that, Control C, Control V, and you see that if I say, for instance, 7, it should get trapped and say it is summer here. It should be the case. So if I just press enter, it's going to tell you summer, right? So the thing is, guys, I know some of the colleagues that even when they are at school and the monitors are there, they say that, hey, this is not my responsibility to check your errors or something. So guys, I'm not that type. But honestly, when it is online, I have to give permission to every single person to open their monitor. Everybody should see that. And then it's going to take forever. But as one-time exception, do you want to copy your code? I'm going to bring it here and everybody is going to see. Just copy your code in the everyone text. Thank you very much, Michael, for the hint. Yeah. Meanwhile, that Mohammed, are you going to copy or not?
I did, but I think I'm gonna restart the Visual Studio. Maybe there's a problem. It's
Okay.
open from yesterday.
Okay. So you need to, yeah. I think that the boy needs a kind of fresh air. So just yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
True. Okay, so let's go to the questions that we had here. You see, converting those numbers, it's not difficult. It's very simple. Control A, Control V. If the case is 1, then sophomore, freshman, sorry, sophomore, and then junior, and then so on. Let me just Control C, bring it back to the code. I prefer this one, Control V. Yep. Okay. And how about the next one? The next question is something easy peasy. You all know that. So I don't take your time. You have already gone through more difficult questions. Everybody knows here you just get a number from a user between 1 to 7. If it is 1, it's going to say Monday all the way to Sunday. And if the number is outside the range, the default is going to get triggered and tells you that, hey, it's not in the range. Is there anything that we cannot relate to or we cannot understand? Here, if there's any question, any concern, please let me know. Otherwise, please type 1. Yeah. Joseph, the first one, type 1. Awesome, bravo, thank you very much. Look at the next one. Guys, I want you to try this. Anyone has, and actually you can just see this one here too. So my name is Reza, but my Persian nickname is Siavash. So I just created something I fabricated. For instance, Alex, your friends might not might call you differently. I'm not sure. So use your name, Alex, and your nickname. And in either case, they should say hi, hi. And if you enter any other name, it should say, although I don't know you, hi. That kind of thing. Okay. So again, Goma, imagine that your name is Goma, your nickname is Goma the Great. So either people say Goma or Goma the Great, you should say, hi Goma the Great. And if I use, for instance, Goma with one A, it's not in the list. It should say, although I don't know your name, hello, something like that. So please just implement that code. This time we deal with strings.
So while everybody's doing there, so I just have a real quick question. So with read line, right, there's possibility of null entry, and it gives you the little green squiggly as a warning. And I always give the exclamation on the end saying, hey, no matter what, there's going to be input here. Is there a different validation method, like without writing 2 sentences of code or a sentence of code? Is there just like a quick shorthand that's going to, aside from saying yes, no matter what, there's going to be input? Is there something that we can do to, I don't know, not use the yes, for sure there's going to be input for the compiler? You know what I mean?
Can you just give a kind of pseudocode, write a pseudocode for that? You made a string console.readline.
So I've got the exclamation on the end just to get rid of the squigglies, because squigglies are annoying. Is there some other way other than writing, you know, like checking if the string is empty or null? Is there a shorthand that actually validates instead of just saying no matter what, there's going to be input?
What I do for that case, I say that if that's your question is about robusting the code, make the code robust. So my solution personally is to check if the length of that is less than a certain number. For instance, if it is equal to 0, then keep looping, asking the question. For
Okay.
instance, for name, there are some short names in some cultures, like just 2 letters, but at least they have 2 letters. So I check if that name length is less than or equal to 1, right? Then just give warning or something. That's how I handle it. I don't know if there's any better way.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was asking, because otherwise it's you know, another line just for the validation. I was looking for more shorthands. I've learned a lot of shorthand shortcuts this year,
True.
so I was looking for more.
And there is one more thing to add. Because there could be white characters, unwanted things, I use trim, then len. So first get rid of the white characters, and then.
Yeah, get rid of the extra
That's
space, and then yeah.
That's a
Thank you.
very valid question. Awesome, thank you. So guys, if you could, again, I cannot. Pooja, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see the code that I run in front of you?
Yes.
Do you see that there is no error? Huh?
I can't read the console, but I believe you if you are saying there is no error.
No, I'm saying it's not the matter of belief. I don't need anyone trust me. You see it. Don't trust me. Trust your eyes. It works, right? So for that case, if anyone has one issue and I go through the problems, it's gonna take the whole class for just one problem. So take your time, work on your errors at your convenience. You have the solution, you have computer, just compare it and say, hey, I found that there's a semicolon missing here. It could be that. That is your way of learning and progress. So, and my apologies if from now on I receive that message from you that I have an error, my answer would be the same. So I'm not going to bother you by repeating myself. Let's go to the next question that we have, and that's a very simple answer. Imagine that's exactly what Michael said. Imagine we have yes and we have yes. Guys, what is the difference between these two? One of them is capital letter, one of the start with capital letter, and one of them starts with small letter. So, guys, this is just a test. Whether you say yes or no, we are gonna keep continuing, okay? So we are not gonna have a coffee break. So please challenge yourself. This is going to be the, let me just remove some parts, Control C, and I want you to please complete it. Okay. There are some missing parts in the code, and I want you please complete my code. You have it now. Every time Pooja just sent the direct message, I have to convert it to everyone again, not to send to Pooja. Okay, everybody, you have the code. Please complete it by saying if the answer is, if the case is yes or yes. But still we have some issues. I know we are going to work on it and make it better. If we say no, hey, no. And if you say no, it says, no, we don't want, and so on. Else, we say that please enter yes or no. Does that make sense?
So just to clarify, you do want the separate word usage and output for each word. Okay.
Yes. Whether we say yes with small y, whether we say yes with capital Y, just say, yeah, that kind of thing. Whoever could finish the code, please send it to private message. Thank you, Alex. Kevin, it works. It's not a trick question. It's a very simple, straightforward, just practicing using cases. Michael, thank you. Yes, bravo. But still, we have some issues here, and you have all the right to say, Reza, what if I say yes like this? What if I say yes like this? What if I say yes like this? So they're all yeses, but we just take care of the first two. We need to have a better solution for it, and I'm not aware of it at the moment. Just let's consider users are gonna just enter yes in this format or in this format. Okay, so let me just go and have this is the solution, everybody. you have the code now, and I'm gonna use the same code here, Control V, yep. And look at this one. If I say yes, so it gives us that message. If I say no, capital N, but small o, it's gonna give that message. But if I say anything else, it is going to say, please enter ABC, for instance. It's going to say, please enter yes or no. That kind of message. So the next version, which is a little bit better, is saying that whenever you get the result from the user, convert it to lowercase, then you don't need to check all possible combination of small letter, capital letters. Does that make sense, Goma? You see, first I get the value, yes, for instance, yes is small y, capital E, small s. That's a kind of strange way of using, right? Awesome, Alex. Look at this one. In that case, first, you're going to convert it to lowercase, and then you're gonna check if it is yes, small letter. If it is no, small letter. Let me just try that. And before that, let me just do one thing. Let's just put the breakpoint here, see what is happening here. Okay, I'm going to type Y-E-S, that's a kind of a strange form. And then I get there and I go to the next. Look what's gonna happen here. It's going to lower down, and then it is going to get trapped here because it's already got yes into small letter. Do you see that? It says that the string to lower returned yes. Guys, do you see in the lower portion of the screen? So now the converted to lowercase is going to get trapped here, and then you can just go and write the message. Does that make sense? Okay, so please, everybody, make sure that you implement this code.
Reza, the dot to lower can also be on the read line, right? The console read line on top. If I don't want to put it beside switch as an example.
Can you please repeat? As
So-
always, I was distracted by one student.
So do you see where it says answer equals console dot read line? If I put dot lower right beside it,
Yes, you can do that.
it's still
It
okay.
still works, yeah. The question that I received was this one. Can we have it there instead of that? Yes, we can have, but my question for you is which one you prefer? Here, look, if I'm gonna say yes, that kind of strange format, it is still going to use yes condition. But in that case, you do not have the original entry of the user, right? And it is going to, yeah, convert it to that format too.
Hi, Prof. I have a question, please. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, the last line of the code under default, there's
I
one.
cannot hear you, Adewale.
Okay, the last line of the code under default. Under default. There's one call it vertical line at the end, at the stream end. I don't know
Okay.
function. Yeah, exactly.
You mean this one?
Yes.
That was okay. It works without that. That was just an emoji.
Oh, okay.
Like just for instance saying LOL, something like this. That was nothing. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to the next question. And that would be, we get a number from a user, and then I wanted to type that. Let me just, yeah, give me a second. And that is very important. Give me a second. Is it clear, Pooja?
Yeah, I mean, is there a way to make the console bigger? I was not able to read before, but I think it's okay for now.
No. I send you a text. Please read it. Because either I have to teach or just check the console, okay? So it's not gonna allow me to have my teaching things. Okay, guys, one question. Look, if I say a numbers divided by 5, the remainder, the modulo 5, you see that here it's modulo 5. If the number is divisible by 5, it is going to be 0 in here. So in case that the remainder is 0, you can see that number is multiple of 5. Else, the number is not multiple of 5. Does that make sense? Yeah. I want everybody convert this code to say if the number is even or odd. Please just convert this code to see if a number is even or odd. Thank you. Excellent. The good thing for that one is you don't need to check anything else but case 0, because guys, the remainder could be either 0 or 1. So you don't need to say that case 0, case 1, and then default. Does that make sense? It's going to be extra checking, which never happens. Okay, good. How about this one? If you say A, capital, and there's one thing, Joseph, here you cannot use to lower, because to lower is for a string, it is not for characters.
Okay.
That's a funny thing. For cases like this, you have no idea except using both, or you have to convert it to character to string first. That's a kind of long path. So everybody, I'm gonna copy the code for you. Your task is, please just read the code, understand it, and change apple, ball, and candy with something different, which start with A, B, C. That's your task. After finishing this, please type 1. Okay, Eskim 1. Awesome. Who else? Merci. Okay. Now, here is something that I added last night. I very much like the problem statement. So here is our challenge. That's the last thing that we are going to do before the quiz, before the test, sorry, not the quiz. And that's this one. Let me just copy the question to everyone. So it says that write a C program that presents a simple menu to the user and perform an action based on their selection. So if you say, for instance, 1, it's going to say, hello, user. If you type 2, it shows and display. This is something that I want you to search. It's going to take 30 seconds for you to search how to display the current date and time. It's one method. So my search, my Google search would be how to display system's current date and time in C#. And if 3, it says goodbye user kind of thing. And if you enter anything but 1, 2, 3, it's going to give you a message. You should pick numbers in this range, that kind of message. Does that make sense? So let's just try it. And I want to see who's going to be successful. Don't rush, but let's give it 2-3 minutes. The question is inside chat box too. You can just use it from there.
I'm sorry, I missed the task we were supposed to do with this.
Just write a switch case and yeah, if you enter 1, it should give you hello user, 2, give you the current time, 3, goodbye user. Anything outside the range, it should give you that please select.
Yes, sorry, I didn't see the chat.
Don't worry. Okay, if you got the answer, please send it to direct message. Yes, case one, Goma. Yes, case one, say hello user, case two, time, case three, right? Both are acceptable, Goma. Means string one and number one. Both of them are acceptable. Good job, Michael. Awesome. Great. Joseph. Merci. Let's wait for two more people. You don't need to ask from the user the current date, but that's, yeah, that's good, Pooja. Okay, so let's just quickly, Mohammed, Kevin, awesome, Eskim, good. Let's just look. I'm not saying this is the best. This is one of the options that we have. So I have seen that some of our friends took the choice from the user, converted to integer, and then they set case number one instead of a string one. It is possible. you can use string as well, as you see. And the only thing is just saying date time dot now to show the current time. Some people used a variable before that to keep the date and time. The problem of that is if you do it beforehand, it's going to take that time. So it's going to be a gap between the time that you run the code and you enter your choice, because you have already taken the variable here, then you are waiting. So it might take 2-3 seconds, 30 seconds. Then the time that you show belongs to 30 seconds ago. Does that make sense? This is better to have it here. Okay, so I'm going to just run that. And I'm going to see if I say 2, it is going to show, for instance, the right of the current time at the moment. This is just to practice. Majority of people got that, and that's awesome. Let me ask you one quick question. Thank you, Alex. How was switch case? Wasn't it easy? Because you know if else, switch case is not difficult at all. One simple thing. Let me just do it this way. You pressed 1. Here I say you pressed 2. And here I say you pressed 3. As simple as that, guys. You see that? Forget about the frills. It is as simple as this. Whenever you enter any choice, it is going to get that and say, if you have entered this one, do this. If you have entered this one, do this, and so on and so forth. Okay, I received sometimes, let me just bring it back to what it was. Okay, I received that sometimes I ask, and you're gonna see, I just, in the menu, I had something like so to have something over there and to have something over here. And look at the thing. I showed the, sorry. I showed something like this to user to have a kind of nice, neat menu. And I remember that in the exam, I received that from some team members that, Reza, you haven't taught us how to use those lines. I was like, hey, come on, this is nothing but just right line. You see this? So guys, for instance, if you want to have, I'm just saying, it's not going to be that much nice. Oh, let me just do it this way. So, and I'm going to use exactly the same number of stars here. And then I'm going to just say star like this. And guys, I don't have time to just adjust it, but trust me, it should be something like Control C. Something like this. And it takes a few seconds. I'm going to just spend that time, don't worry. So we're going to exit, right? Okay. Let's see quickly. Okay, no. First thing first, star, star, star here, and star here. And it should be my apologies if they're not aligned. You see how you play around with it. Yep, this one shows we need less stars. How about this one? Kind of thing. Anyway, you got the idea, right? You just spend a few seconds and still this guy is the only troublemaker. Yeah. And you make something like a sort of menu, still just one space. Anyway, so guys, is it something that new concept? No, it is based on what we learned. So if you see in your questions that I ask you to make a kind of menu, it's just playing around with the spaces, the stars, or whatever the symbol is. I'm just saying if you see such a thing. Now it is, I know what I wanted. Anyway, apart from that, now I'm gonna explain about the test. I tested my test. I asked my students from previous semesters to just go through the questions to make sure that it is understandable. I used AI as well, and the estimated time for completing the test is less than 50 minutes, 50. Does that make sense? So how many minutes? 50, right? Awesome. But what I'm going to consider for you guys to complete is 3 hours. Doesn't make sense? So whenever I finish my explanation, I open the test for you, and then I go through the test. I'm gonna stay for 15 minutes, making sure if there is any question, you're gonna ask me through the chat, or you open your mic saying that, Reza, explain that part for us, make it clearer. I'm gonna stay, and the timer starts after I finish all the explanation. Does that make sense? You have time to go through it. Let me just tell you one thing. Everybody go through the questions, please. There is one folder called test one. If you go there, still I haven't brought the actual test. There is one test one. Can you see this? I mentioned, and I'm gonna delete that to make sure you're not gonna get confused. Everybody, can you spend, please, 2 minutes, or how much time you need for that? It says that write a program that you get two numbers and you calculate the summation of those two numbers. Huh? So please just check if the numbers that you get is negative, it should just say, we don't accept negative numbers. That's your task. Please do it now. Take your time. Whenever you finish, just send it to my private message. Thank you.
Your screen's really huge now, hey?
Yeah, well, Let me do one thing. Michael, thanks for the comment. I could just press that.
Yeah, if anybody's having problems seeing the screen, just put your mouse over the video. Make sure that the Zoom session is the active window. Hold down your control button and scroll your mouse wheel. It does zoom. You can make it bigger. You can go down to 50%. And that way, not everybody else has to deal with a giant page that they have to grab and move around in order to see all the contents.
Okay, whenever you are done, send the answer. Let me just see if number 1 or number 2. Else, bravo. Excellent. I like that. Not a bad idea to spend time together on it because you're going to see similar questions soon. So bravo, Jules. Bravo. I just changed a little bit of your code, Joe. For you. But
Did I miss a step?
Okay. So let me just see the questions. Mohammed, Maria, Alex, Jules. Okay, some of them they are correct, some of them are not. But let's just see. Look at this. I borrowed it from Mr. Cesar. Here we simply say that's a kind of signature of the code that you have. That's perfect. We get the number from the user, place it inside num1, then the second number, place it in num2. And then you say, if number 1 or number 2 are less than 0, then say negative numbers are not acceptable. Else, just show the sum of the numbers. Very simple. Does that make sense? Everybody? Is the logic clear for us? Let me just try it. So if simply we use something like 10, 20, it's going to show you 30. But if you just use any negative number, for instance, if I say 10, but minus 20, it's going to say that negative numbers are not acceptable. Guys, is everything is clear for everybody? That type of, well, you're going to see questions exactly similar to what we have. And I want to show, well, you see, I had abundance number of test one alternatives, but I finally just used, okay. So this is the output that you're going to see for normal cases. So you see the output. I don't think that we need any extra explanation. Okay. The other thing that I want to address is still I receive some assignments that they provide zip files. And that is funny, after 4 or 5 weeks of repeating that, guys, you need to have screenshots of the code, screenshots of the result, and then the actual code. Still, I receive zip files. And for this submission, for midterm, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Does that make sense? Like assignments that we already had. And let me just go to the next. Guys, do you remember this example? You're gonna see as part of your submission, as part of your questions, that this is kind of like help. This is a sample. You need to follow this. Screenshot of the code, screenshot of the result, and the actual code. Guys, if everything is super convenient and easy to follow, please give me high five, type 5. Okay, thank you very much. Merci. In a few seconds, I'm going to bring the code. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, please.
For our solution, do we need to match word for word?
Pardon me?
Do we need to match word for word? As in a sample, and as in I understand that you provide a sample results. So when we are writing our code, do we need to match word for word?
Adewale, I don't want to miss your question. Your voice is like with a heavy kind of microphone that I can't understand even a word. Can you type?
Sorry.
He was asking if in the exam, if you said, like, make sure that you have this output as a string, right? Do you want it word for word?
Okay. There's a very big dangerous kind of thing. If I say, I leave it to you, just modify it a little bit here and there, the big issue could happen like this. People are gonna take that word using totally different things, and they say that, Reza, you said that we can do whatever we want. Does that make sense? So that is why in an undemocratic way, I'm gonna say, please just follow whatever I say in the questions. If I say this is a number 1, do not add anything, do not remove anything, follow the same suit. Okay, then I'm gonna be sure that everybody does the same job. Did I answer your question, Adewale?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, please just use the same format. It is very clear, the questions are clear, and you can just follow. Michael said, let's see how my output is different from yours. Okay, I'm gonna test that if you don't mind.
Just it's mostly about how you on your output you say like the summation of the two numbers is such and such, whereas I've just used sum of the two numbers is. I think that's what he was talking about.
Okay, okay. You know what I'm saying is the best is to guys, and the thing is I needed to work on the grammar of the things, but yeah, let's just keep it as close as possible to that. Okay, because I had that, guys. Maybe your question, you might say that, Reza, come on, this is a very simple question. Let people live and do whatever they want in that kind of world. I had some stories. If I don't have time to just share that. Anyway, so let's just tell you the last thing, and that is super important, guys. I told you, I asked my previous students, and I asked even AI, how much time do we need for average student? And it was 55 minutes. Considering that we have 3 hours, but I want just to tell you one thing. You're allowed to use internet, you're allowed to use Google, but you're not allowed to use ChatGPT. And guys, it is recording, it is recorded, and I emphasize on that. I put some mines here and there to catch those people that they dump questions into ChatGPT, period. Don't do that. And I think that it is not fair because the questions are simple and they are just to gauge if we are capable of those kind of things, then let's move forward. Otherwise, let's focus and just review those things. I'm not going to add any word into that, but if you see that I mentioned ChatGPT 0, just know the reason, and I have enough documentation to prove that. I'm not going to risk my career because of just saying it might be. I'm 100% sure. If you see that ChatGPT 0, I'm 100% sure that I'm going to put that in your, Anyway, apart from that, I'm going to open the questions here on my computer. Then you are going to have it on your system too in no time. But before that, let's see this. Test 1. Everybody can see my screen. Yeah. Okay. In question 1, you see that you should have a menu, right? Okay. Guys, do we know how to put those asterisks here and say my simple kind of things? We already know that. So you ask the user, this is when you want to press, even for every single pressing buttons I have provided. If somebody presses 1, then it's going to show you sum. If somebody presses 2, this is going to be the result. If somebody presses 3, if somebody presses 4, and if somebody presses 4 while dividing by 0, you should catch it. And then if somebody presses 5, you're going to just, what do we call it, say, see you soon. And any number outside the range, you're going to do that. Guys, part of this question intentionally is your question number 3. A very simple part. I want to see, you see that in question number 3, you just consider normal case and you just consider this one. This is like part of the question. Why I have done that? Maybe a person cannot do the whole thing in question number 1. They can get the marks for this question. So it's like low-hanging fruit for people who want just to get a cut-off mark. The other thing is super simple. I'm gonna provide 3 numbers. Well, you're gonna ask user, please enter first number, second number, third number, and you're gonna pick the smallest. You're gonna see which one is the smallest. Is it clear for you guys, everything? I think that surprisingly, it is simple. And you can say that, hey, Reza, half an hour is more than enough. But let's go to the next part. Deliverable. Guys, what? Screenshot of the code, screenshot of the result, and actual text of the code. This is a sample that I provided for you. Please follow the suit. And then after that, you have a rubric. You don't need to be very much worried about this. This is just how to break the numbers. The major part is just this question. Guys, I could just simply show you this part, and the rest is just to make sure you know what is happening. This question and this question. The screenshots are just for clarification. Is there, Maria said, should we compile answers in a doc and submit at the end? Exactly like your submissions. Here is a sample. Does this one answer your question, Maria? It's exactly what you need to submit. Okay. Any other question? Any other concern? Any other?
Reza, you said the test to open it up was where again? On
I'm
test
going
one?
to, I just wanted first to make
Oh,
sure that everybody can just, if they have any question, any concern. Okay, and I had one other hand. Yes, Kevin? I can't hear you. Your mic is mute.
Weird screechy noises, Kev.
Pardon me?
All I could hear from Kevin was some weird little, it sounded like bad digital conveyance.
No, okay. You need to complete all 3 questions. Everybody needs to, yeah, okay.
Professor?
Okay, yeah, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page is, please type the number of questions that we need to answer to get the full mark. Yes, 3, 3, 3, 3. Lovely, lovely, excellent. Alex, 5 questions. Michael, how did you? Guys, you have to answer 5 questions. Okay, so Alex, you had a question or something.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if you can show us how to do the stars or the hashtags on the menu again, but I think I'll figure it out. I should be fine.
Okay, just one before I going. Do you remember that kind of thing that we did? So having stars here, console before, console right line after.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to provide, let me just get rid of, yeah, and whenever you run the code, it's going to show you stars on top, right, and on the bottom, kind of thing. Does that make sense? So these
Yeah, makes sense.
come from here and here. And if you want to have, for instance, before the text, just add 1 asterisk here and 1 asterisk there. So it's going to just make it nice. Okay, good question. So by saying that, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stop recording for now, but I'm going to start another recording. I just want to have a nice, neat recording for this session that we have completed so far. So thanks for watching, those who yes, see this.